If you've decided that you would like to use a birth doula, one of the first things that you can do is ask local moms in your area for referrals for doulas that they really resonated with. And then from there, I recommend setting up a few different interviews. You don't want to just hire the first doula you meet, unless she's incredible, of course, but I definitely recommend meeting with a few of them and following are questions that you can ask to help you get a really in-depth understanding of where this doula is coming from, and most importantly, if she will be a good fit for you. So you can ask, have you ever supported a VBAC? If so, what was the experience like? Are you supportive of VBACs? That's a big one to start with, right? What's your general birth philosophy? What training do you have? And do you do continuing education? So there's not like a license for being a doula. Some doulas have done like lots of training through certain organizations. Some doulas haven't done any training and they just show up at birth. So there's no like requirement for certification, but ideally your doula has received some training from a place like Doula or the Hypnobirthing Institute. There's a lot of different really great organizations that do training for doulas and provide that certification. Okay, how many births have you attended? What are your fees and what's included with those fees? So some doulas are also, say, a massage therapist or a hypnotherapist or a chiropractor. And so in those situations, if they have really specialized skills, their fees might be a little bit higher. All right, do you have a backup doula? If so, will I be able to meet them? How will they be paid if they need to be called in? What I do, I always have a backup doula. I always make sure the parents are able to meet that backup doula at least once. And if the doula does need to be called in, I've never had to call in a backup, but if I ever did, then I would pay the doula from the fee that the mom gave me. So the mom is not having to pay out additional money. But that's just what I do. Do you have a time limit on birth? Like, for example, if the birth goes over 12 hours, is the doula going to leave for a couple hours? Will she just go sleep in her car? I mean, what would that look like? Because I would never want you to be stressed out that you're going to lose that continuous support if you have a really long labor. So you want to make a plan for that with the doula that you choose. How would you help me advocate for my birthing rights? What are some specific ways you think you could help me in having a successful VBAC? If I have fears that come up when trying for a VBAC, how will you support me through them? And of course, any other questions that you feel are relevant. And then after you have the interview, like I would not hire anybody right away. I would then go and discuss with your partner, after you've had all the interviews and like really sit with it and tune in to who you felt most comfortable with. Ideally there was somebody where you're like, oh my God, I really feel like if they were at my birth, it would be a much, much better experience. And then go with that person. And you want to start this process, I would say at least in your second trimester, because doulas, we do fill up. Some doulas take on a lot of births. For me, I only take on one birth a month. So I don't have a lot of availability, so people do really need to book me far in advance. So you want to start this process not too early, but again, definitely in the second trimester, because I would hate for you to get to the third trimester and everybody you contact doesn't have availability around your due date. So start the process early. And I have included a PDF of these interview questions to make it easier for you during these interviews.